You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, 31st day of March, 2026. Thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room. So to get in there, you gotta be a member or taking your 1-week free trial. If you haven't taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us in about an hour, he'll walk you through the simple steps to take your trial. There's no credit card required. We want you focused on what's being taught so that at the end of the trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. Now, it's 5 consecutive trading days. The weekends and the upcoming holiday, Good Friday, that doesn't count against you. So you can sign up today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow, and it'll run all the way through next Friday. I'm going to be very generous, okay? All right. The live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We take a 30-minute break and then come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. Going forward, what will happen is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link, so at 12 noon Eastern, all you do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit there is you have immediate access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. If you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But it's a great resource to have at your fingertips because it allows you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. As I mentioned, Michael will join us at the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, for a recap of what happened this morning in the live trading room and do a little live trading as time and the markets permit. But we'll start where we always do, with our daily devotional. And the topic we're on right now is, God, where are you? Today's scripture is Acts 16, verses 13 through 15, and I'm going to share it from the NIV translation. On the Sabbath, we went outside the city gate to the river, where we expected to find a place of prayer. We sat down and began to speak to the women who had gathered there. One of those listening was a woman from the city of Thyatira named Lydia, a dealer in purple cloth. She was a worshiper of God. The Lord opened her heart to respond to Paul's message. When she and the members of her household were baptized, she invited us to her home. If you consider me a believer in the Lord, she said, come and stay at my house. And she persuaded us. Again, that was Acts 16, verses 13 through 15. When Paul first set foot in Europe, he wasn't looking for kings or philosophers. He was looking for a place to pray. What he found by a riverside in Philippi would change the course of Christianity on an entire continent. On the Sabbath, we went outside the city gate to the river where we expected to find a place of prayer. Acts 16:13. There was no synagogue in Philippi, so the small group of God-fearing women gathered by the water for worship. Among them was Lydia, a dealer in purple cloth. Lydia wasn't just any businesswoman. She dealt in purple fabric, one of the most expensive commodities in the ancient world. Purple dye was extracted from murex snail shells in a costly process, making purple cloth a luxury item worn by royalty. Her business required significant capital and international connections. As a worshiper of God, Lydia was already seeking truth, but she hadn't yet heard about Jesus. In Acts 16:14, as we read, the Lord opened her heart to respond to Paul's message. This wasn't just intellectual persuasion, it was divine intervention. God himself was preparing Europe's first convert to the gospel. Lydia's response was immediate and complete. Lydia and her household were baptized without delay. But her conversion didn't stop with personal faith. It immediately became practical hospitality. She urged Paul and his companions to come and stay at her house, and she persuaded them to accept her invitation. Lydia's home became the first Christian meeting place in all of Europe. Her house served as headquarters for Paul's mission in Philippi and a gathering place for the new believers. When Paul and Silas were later released from prison, they went straight to Lydia's house before leaving the city. God had strategically placed a successful businesswoman at the forefront of European Christianity. Lydia had the resources, connections, and social standing to provide a strong foundation for the growing church. God is still calling professionals to use their platforms for His purposes. Your professional relationships and social influence could become the foundation for reaching others with the gospel. Like Lydia, your open heart and open home could launch movements that impact entire continents. A friend of mine wrote a book, Kings and Priests. We're all born as one or the other. I won't dive deep into that topic right now, but if you have an interest, just Google Kings and Priests and buy his book. It's quite good, and it will explain in detail what I mean by we're all either born as a king or a priest. And the kings sometimes get confused and think they're priests, and vice versa. So it's a cautionary tale, as well as opening your mind to new thoughts. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as you opened Lydia's heart to receive your word thousands of years ago, open our hearts today to hear you clearly and respond with faith. Give us a willing spirit to follow you, and let our lives be a place where your presence dwells and others are welcomed. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Tuesday. All right, I'm going to give you the numbers from around the world. And then we'll go to the news, and then we'll go to the alerts and the charts. Okay, starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. The Dow's currently up 457 points, just over 1%. The Nasdaq's up 393 points, almost 2%. S&P 500 is up 86 points, it's almost 1.5%. And the Russell 2000 up 36 points. That's over 1.5%. So all four of the major indices are green at the moment. But we got trouble overhead, and I'm going to show you that when we get to the charts. In the commodity basket, crude oil up $1.34, trading 104.22 last. That's a gain of just over, well, it just changed. It's almost 1.5% now, up $1.45. Gold is up $95.40, trading 46.21.40 last. That's a gain of over 2%. Silver up $3.50, trading 74.07 last. That's a gain just shy of 5%. It's so close. That's 4.98. We'll call it 5%. And the Asian markets at the close. The Nikkei dropped 822 points, 1.5%. Shanghai fell 31, almost 1%. But the Hang Seng gained 37. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 48, the DAX up 70, the CAC up 44. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And it's a big green Radio Tuesday here in the US of A. So let's go take a look at the news. 4 masked men stole 3 paintings worth over $10 million combined from the Magnani Rocca Foundation outside Parma, Italy, officials confirmed yesterday. The thieves reportedly entered the museum through the front door on March 22nd. That's clever. And stole Cézanne's Still Life with Cherries, Matisse's Odalisque on the Terrace, and Renoir's Le Poison, which alone is worth about $7 million. A fourth piece was left behind after an alarm was triggered, prompting the men to flee by climbing a fence. Officials said the heist was highly coordinated and lasted just 3 minutes. The museum has remained open, keeping the news of the theft from the public for a week. No suspects have been identified as of this writing. Now, what might the thieves do with this art? You probably think they're going to try to sell it on the black market. Well, they might, but stolen art is typically ransomed instead of resold. Now, for those of you that use XAI, all 11 co-founders of Elon Musk's artificial intelligence startup have departed, capping a 2-year exodus that accelerated the rocket maker SpaceX that Elon bought the company in February. The final 2 co-founders left last week. The departures at XAI, which was founded in 2023 by researchers from Google, DeepMind, Microsoft, and OpenAI, unfolded in waves. The first exits came in mid-2024 and early 2025, with the pace quickening after SpaceX completed its all-stock acquisition of XAI that valued the latter at $250 billion. Reported reasons for the exits included a shift in priorities, internal disagreements, and changes in workplace culture. Musk has said XAI was not built right the first time around. The reset comes as SpaceX moves towards a mid-year initial public offering, targeting a valuation of up to $1.75 trillion. Investors are likely to scrutinize XAI given the loss of its founding team and regulatory concerns surrounding its Grok chatbot. Now, it's difficult for a non-accredited investor to get pre-IPO shares, but I have found some funds so that you can get a piece of this. It's probably going to be the single largest IPO in history. SpaceX going public. And when SpaceX goes public, it takes XAI with it and also Starlink. The funds I found and am very interested in myself. The first one is ARK, ARK VX. That's a Kathy Woods fund. The other one is OVR. Check that one out because it's only $16 a share yesterday. And then AGIX. Yesterday that was trading at $31 a share. And then EchoStar. Okay, this is not a fund. This is an actual stock. EchoStar traded some of their bandwidth to, or not bandwidth, but it's like bandwidth. It's the frequency. I'm not coming up with the right term here, but anyway, they did a trade with SpaceX, and they now own a large portion of SpaceX. So the company's called EchoStar, and it trades under the symbol SATS. That's going to cost you about $112 a share. Some are saying that's overvalued. I don't know. But if you're looking to get exposure to the SpaceX $1.75 trillion IPO, those are ways you can do it if you're not an accredited investor. An accredited investor basically means you got a net worth of $1 million or more. So And there are other ways to get some exposure. There are some platforms that trade in pre-IPO shares. To break that down for you, like some of the employees at SpaceX, they've been given shares already before the IPO as part of their paycheck or sign-on bonus. They can sell those shares on a secondary market, and there are platforms out there. I'm going to be doing some research over the next few days on those other platforms, and as I learn more, I'll bring that information to you. A Russian oil tanker arrived in Cuba yesterday, carrying around 730,000 barrels of oil. The delivery breaks a months-long U.S. blockade that has led to daily blackouts. It is not clear, as of this writing, if the U.S. will allow other ships to reach the island. President Trump instated the effective blockade back in January, citing national security concerns and accusing Cuba of harboring terrorist organizations. The move came weeks after the U.S. ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. It has led to speculation that Trump aims to control Cuba. Well, I mean, he just said it in public. This guy, if he's thinking it, he says it. He says he could take the island, and that after Iran, Cuba's next. In recent weeks, Cubans have relied increasingly on solar energy from China's solar energy panels to supplement their failing electricity grid. This oil that has arrived can be refined into other products like diesel, gasoline, and jet fuel. Refinement and distribution are expected to take roughly 4 weeks. These blackouts in Cuba have been really bad. It's taken quite a toll on the people. And the people are living under a horrible communist regime anyway. These people that get out in the streets and march for this commie mayor in New York, or all these other leftist socialist ideas. Just look at Cuba. Is that what you want for your state, for your town? I don't think so. Stocks rallied today after President Trump reportedly told administration officials that he would be willing to end the war in Iran without a full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and told the New York Post that the war won't last much longer. I think he's got a trick up his sleeve. I don't think he's going to come this close and back down. Trump has repeatedly threatened to reopen the strait by force, but on Tuesday morning, the U.S. president seemed prepared to wind down aggressive military action, posting on Truth Social. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Okay, to me, that doesn't sound like we're pulling out. All he said is the hard part's done. On Tuesday morning, the president today also told the New York Post that the war won't last much longer, and the strait will open automatically after a U.S. withdrawal. So we're not done. Communication from Washington has been erratic. I disagree. You know, the greatest enemy of the American people? Some say China, some say Russia, some say Iran, obviously. I say it's the leftist media we have in this country, who repeatedly lie and lie and lie again to the American people on a daily basis. And it's not because they don't know the truth. It's because it doesn't fit their agenda. It doesn't fit their narrative. So you heard it here first. The greatest enemy of the American people is the legacy media. Consumer confidence, the economic report came out today that the world's been waiting on, unexpectedly rose in March, according to the latest report. Though the report still showed that concerns of higher prices coming down the pike are weighing on American households. The Conference Board's Consumer Index for March rose to 91.8, up from 91 in February, and well above the anticipated 87.9 that was expected by Wall Street economists. Overall, the index still shows consumer confidence languishing. Yeah, okay, more leftist media. Sorry. Moving on. Christine Lagarde. I know that made some of your skin crawl. I'm sorry. Used an audience of high-level group of 7 officials to challenge Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's optimism that the Iran war's economic fallout will be short-lived, according to people familiar with the matter. Bessent played down the damage caused by weeks of fighting in the Middle East and argued that disruptions, including the de facto closure of the Strait of Hormuz, will be temporary. The people said, asking not to be identified. You know what? If you're not willing to stand behind what you say, don't say it. The European Central Bank president pushed back, however, telling Bessent and the central bankers, finance, and energy ministers convened for Monday's G7 video call that the effects would be felt for a long time because so much has already been destroyed. In Iran? I'm sorry. Maybe you shouldn't have lied and killed Americans for 47 years. Amazon announced today it will provide internet service to Delta Airlines via its Amazon LEO satellites beginning in 2028. Like SpaceX's Starlink, Amazon's LEO services, LEO stands for Low Earth Orbit, relies on a constellation of satellites orbiting the planet to beam internet connectivity to stationary base stations on the ground, or in the case of Delta, to aircraft flying through the sky. So Starlink getting some competition. That might be something to look into. They could spin LEO off as its own entity. Gold climbed for a third session on a report that U.S. President Trump is willing to end the war with Iran even if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. You know, they twist his words. But that's okay. Bullion jumped as much as 2.6% today before pairing some gains to trade near 4,600 an ounce. The advance followed a report from the Wall Street Journal that Trump told aides he's willing to end the U.S. military campaign against Iran even if the Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed. Bull hockey. Come on. He's invested too much. His whole presidency and the upcoming midterms rest on Iran being completely put out of business and the Strait of Hormuz being open. That's why I say the legacy media, that's the American people's greatest enemy. And they're doing it in broad daylight. And sadly, people believe them. The Supreme Court, this is good news, held in an 8-1 ruling on Tuesday that a Colorado ban on conversion therapy for counselors unlawfully regulates speech and is viewpoint discrimination. Kaylee Childs, a Christian licensed counselor in Colorado Springs, used what is called talk therapy with patients who voluntarily sought her help. These included minors who said they struggled with issues related to sexuality and gender and who wanted their behavior to be in accordance with their biological sex and their religious faith. In the majority opinion, Gorsuch wrote, "The state law prescribes what views she may and may not express. As applied to Ms. Childs, Colorado's law regulates the content of her speech and goes further to prescribe what views she may and may not express, discriminating on the basis of viewpoint," Gorsuch wrote. "The law permits her to express acceptance and support for clients exploring their identity or undergoing gender transition, but forbids her from saying anything that attempts to change a client's sexual orientation or gender identity, including efforts to change behaviors, gender expressions, or romantic attractions. The opinion stated that the government cannot label speech as conduct, as in Child's case it was constituted treatment. The opinion added that the First Amendment is no word game. The fact that the state's viewpoint regulation falls only on licensed healthcare professionals does not change the equation, Gorsuch wrote. All right, we got time for one more. Which one's most important? Well, this one's not really important, but former Republican New York City Councilman Joe Borelli blasted Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom on Saturday as CNN host Sarah Seidner defended him. After Seidner played a clip during the Table for Five segment of CNN Saturday Morning, in which President Donald Trump said Newsom should not seek the White House because of his dyslexia and called him stupid, she asked Borelli if those comments were a huge mistake. Borelli said Trump should not equate dyslexia with a lack of intelligence, but he did agree Newsom was stupid. Now, this was a Democrat saying this on CNN. So, there you go. Maybe there's still hope for the world after all. Okay, let's go to Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis. It's also crude oil, gold, and silver. And I see Valerie didn't catch her mistake, so let me fix it for her. There we go. Now, if I scroll up, we can see that last week, week 399, we ended up with 73 alerts issued, 11 never triggered. That gave us 62 actionable trades, of which 8 or 13% would have been stopped out based on simple market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Yesterday, we had nothing stopped out, and now today, Tuesday, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 28 Logic 247 trades. Now, when Valerie did the recap at 6:30 a.m. Eastern this morning, we were still waiting on the outcome of 3. She'll update the recap this afternoon, as she always does. So, this week so far, 25 actionable alerts, 1 stop out, 4%. Over the last 400 weeks, we have issued over 21,800 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based simply on market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, the purpose of the Logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. If you never actually trade a Logic alert, use them for the purpose intended. Every Logic alert has an entry price, long or short, then an initial target designed to help get your goal for the day. In most cases, additional targets, and then always a final trade to target. Again, if you never actually trade a Logic alert, you can still use them to learn to read the chart. That's the reason they were created. Now, the Logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. Now, 400 weeks is a long time, 7.69 years to be exact. But many years before we introduced Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now, they're different in a lot of different ways, but they don't come out around the clock. They're posted as a static report, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open. Sunday night, I got them out 10 minutes ahead of the open, but I got caught at the bank yesterday, so I didn't get them out until 7:30 p.m. last night. But typically, they come out at 5:55 p.m. Eastern. See, the Tuesday session we're in right now, it started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And the Tuesday session that we're in right now will end at 5 p.m. Eastern today. The markets will go quiet for an hour, and then tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, 1 hour later, the markets will reopen, and that will be the beginning of the Wednesday session. So last night, an hour and a half after the market opened, all of our traders had all of these targets. S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. Now, as we go through these individual markets, you'll see these targets drawn out on the chart. Just remember, it was at 7:30 p.m. Eastern when our traders got the info. Normally it's 5:55 p.m. Eastern. So let's get this out of the way. And we'll start where we always do, with the daily chart of the S&P 500 Emini futures, the bellwether. Kind of an interesting day. Now, we did put in a lower low today, so we're going to have to adjust this. And by the way, these are what are called reverse fibs. Normal fibs, you draw from the low to the high. That's when you're in an uptrend. But when you're in a downtrend, as we obviously are, you draw your fibs from the high to the low. So let's see how close I can get it. It's a little too much. Come on now. That's pretty close. Let's see. What is the low today? We put in a new low today. Come on. Pop up. No, that's not what I want. There we go. 63.53 and a quarter. Need to bump it up just a little bit. 63.53 and a half. Okay, we're one tick off. Perfect. Now, the other day, you'll remember, for those of you who tune in regularly, I said right here we've got potential resistance. The black step line and red and falling represents resistance, and it was to the tick. Now here's yesterday, right? We had a huge run up, and then once Wall Street opened for trading, we sold off and ended up closing the day down here. And then when the new session started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we took a dip, and then we rallied pretty strongly, but now we're back up against resistance times 2. Okay, the black step line and red and falling. If we get through that, if institutional traders, the ones who move price, are convinced enough, we've got another resistance right overhead, the 24% fib retracement. That's the shallowest possible fib retracement. Okay. Now, price always reverts to the mean. I don't care what you trade or how you trade it. It's a fact, like gravity. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. Stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Below the green line, lower prices. Above the green line, higher prices. Below the green line, lower prices. Pretty simple. But here's where it gets interesting. The pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. That pullback held, and you're like, well, wait, no, the candle went below it. Yes, but it's still physically touching. That's what's important. So we get another leg up, and then this time we trade through. So here's what I want you to remember. The pullback holds more often than not, but eventually it's going to trade through. Even here, this pullback, okay, it was a deep pullback, but look, every one of those candles is physically touching the BBC. So it held, the pullback held. And this is how price always moves. Leg retracement. Leg retracement. Leg retracement. Leg retracement. Now that we're in the downtrend, we have not physically touched the BBC since March 5th. Oh, and look at this. We just hit the 24% Fib retracement. Wow. I guess the institutional traders really liked what they heard this morning. They believed it. And also the consumer confidence numbers didn't hurt. But this is behaving like some news just broke. Here, let me go over to my news feed real quick and see if something just broke. Well, it's not showing up on my news feed yet, but something just happened. Because to see that sizable of a move in such a short period of time on the daily chart, that is highly, highly unusual. And when my charts start to freeze up, that means there's a ton of volume passing through the exchange. Okay, so where's our next area for potential resistance? Oh, the chart's going to freeze up on me. Hopefully not. Okay, you see this wick sticking up in this little circle I drew? That is your next area for potential resistance. If price can overcome that, then we may head up to the 38% Fib retracement. And just above that is the daily BBC. And remember, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But never forget, price always reverts to the mean. Now you see where we put in that double top with Friday's candle? Price is struggling to get through there, okay? Market has a memory. Right to the tip of that little arrow I drew a couple days ago. All right. So I want to go to the 30-minute charts so I can show you the alerts, but I can't until the volume in the exchange slows down. And I'm running 32 gigs of RAM. It shouldn't be a problem, but apparently it is. All right. Wow. It should slow down in a minute. i7 chip, 32 gigs of RAM. I need to break out the new computer, which has 64 gigs of RAM, I guess. It's been sitting over there staring at me now for months. It's just moving all that stuff. It is quite the chore. All right, let's see if we can get the 30-minute chart of the ES open. For anybody that's new, I apologize. This is highly unusual. Somebody said something somewhere, and then all the institutional traders believed it. Doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. I mean, you trade what's in front of you. Okay, there's the ES. Look at that 130-minute candle. Goodness gracious. The technical term for that is, that's a whopper. Okay. So I can point some things out even while I'm in hourglass mode. The vertical lines that you see separate today, Tuesday. Here's yesterday, Monday. Back over here is Friday. Okay. Now the horizontal lines, those are our weekly trading zones. We've published those for our members every Monday for over 16 years. They're published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. Now, as you can see, price is approaching these highs from Friday. But then we went into a massive sell-off on Friday. We had a gap blower open Sunday night. And then here's yesterday, where we returned to the lows of Sunday night. And now this big rally out of nowhere. Okay, so this first green candle that you see on the right side of that vertical line, that was the open last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So that's 6 to 6:30, and then the next candle is 6:30 to 7. Then the next candle is 7 to 7:30. And it was exactly at 7:30 that I issued the CTAs. And on the following candle, bang, we hit the short target, more than enough to get your goal for the day. Now, when the market finds support, it's always going to go look for resistance. That's just how markets work. Now, notice this huge candle here. You see where red and falling turned to blue and climbing? When you got that much blue and climbing chasing price, there's a good chance this time the pullback won't hold, that it may trade through, as this candle did. But then when it ran out of steam right before hitting the target, it pulled back to the BBC. Remember, price always reverts to the mean, and the pullback held. Now, the long target, the short target was based off the lows of yesterday. The long target was based off this bearish cross right here. When the red line gets below the green line and leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. And it was. It pushed price all the way back down to the BBC. The second time up, we managed to overcome it, but then we ran into the zone. Now, here's how you should think of the zones. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. When price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. So one of three things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the time it's consolidation, like this. 20% of the time rejection, and 10% of the time price will slice through a zone like it's not even there. And when it runs out of steam, it will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. Here's a perfect example. You see how this red candle sliced through the zone? This is a 30-minute candle, okay? Sliced through the zone like it wasn't even there. But then when it ran out of steam, oh man, I've lost my connection. Wow. It's gone from bad to worse. Okay, we reconnected. Okay, so you see how we sliced through that zone, the horizontal line? When it ran out of steam, we retraced back to the zone we sliced through, and then we continued in the direction of the slice. See how that works? So then we opened last night, we hit the short target, buyer comes in, sends us up to the zone, resistance, where we consolidate, like we do 70% of the time. The zone is actually 6448/49. This is 6510/11. I only put one of the lines out there. Now there's still two more zones overhead. So now when we hit resistance, the market's going to go look for support. The pullback to the BBC held. We bounced into the black step line, which is resistance. That sent price looking for support. The pullback held. And then up we go looking for resistance, which we found at the zone. Resistance sent us back to support. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 pullbacks that all held. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 pullbacks in a row. I'm telling you, the pullback holds more often than not. However, there's no guarantee that it's going to hold. So you got to be patient. Without patience, you'll never become a consistently profitable trader. So finally, after much consolidation and ping-ponging back and forth between, let me add this. When price trades through a CTA target, as it did here, the top side of that target often becomes support. First time ups, typically resistance, but on the pullback, becomes support. Support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance. Then we get a pretty good move. Yeah, so, man, markets are really humming. So we ran into resistance here. Now, if you look all the way back to Friday, I want you to notice that black step line. It was on the left side of red and falling. And right where that red line is on my chart. You see how the black step line jumped over to the right side of red and falling? That creates an important price, important area. And that's exactly where we ran into resistance today. And what did that resistance do? It sent us back to support. We hit the zone to the tick, 48/49. And then we've got this unexplainable move. Dow rallies 700 points as Wall Street recovers some of March's losses. Well, it is the last trading day of the month. So a lot of times the last trading day and the first trading day, you can see some unusual behavior. But my charts are frozen. It's still 8 minutes before Michael shows up. This really shouldn't be happening. I got more than enough bandwidth, more than enough horsepower. But I do have a lot of things running because I'm streaming live. Let's see if we can get the Dow open. Now the Dow is going to look an awful lot like the ES. So will the Russell, so will the NQ. But the ES is the bellwether. Sometimes the Russell gets out in front, sometimes the Dow gets out in front, sometimes the NQ can get out in front. But ultimately, where the ES goes, the other three are going to follow. Okay, we got the Dow up. So, this was the opening candle last night. Now remember, at 7:30, our traders had these targets, okay? We hit the short target, and then the next 30-minute candle takes us all the way to the long target. And as we traded through the long target, look what happened on the pullback. The top side of the long target became support. Initially, it was resistance, which sent us back to the weekly zone. But we overcame it, and on the first pullback, the top side of the long target served as good support. And then the next pullback, the BBC, right there, the pullback held. And the pullback held, and the pullback held, and the pullback held, and the pullback held, and now here we are, way up there somewhere, with my charts not responding. I'm still running on the Gain servers. Michael will be running TradingView when he comes on, so he probably won't have a problem. The servers at Gain are a little antiquated, but I'm just glad they're still running the DT Pro platform because I've used it for so many years. since 2008. Changing platforms is like a major life event. It's like a birth, a death, a marriage, a divorce. I mean, because you get so used to things being a certain way and looking a certain way, and then you get in front of a new platform, even with the same indicators, and you can make it look this, but it's different. Oh, come on. Yeah, not responding. Haven't lost our connection. It's still green. Huh. Okay, so let's click the Russell and maybe we'll get the Russell chart up. If the market catches a breath here. Come on. You can do it. All right, I guess while we're stuck here, I might as well put the time to some use. Remember I said price always moves in legs. Leg, retrace, leg, retrace, leg, retrace. Ah, now we got the Russell. Okay, so last night when the markets opened, we found resistance at the weekly zone that was published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We ran into that and we expected to be resistance till proven otherwise. Now coming down, it was support until proven otherwise. Going up, it was resistance until proven otherwise. But as you can see, we hit the short target. We overshot it, it looks like maybe by a point. Okay. Remember, our traders had these targets at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 6 to 6:30. That's 6:30 to 7. That's 7 to 7:30. So it took two 30-minute candles for us to hit the short target. Then the institutional buyers kicked in. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. We traded through the BBC, but then look what happened on the pullback. See that? Pullback hill. Sent us right up to the long target, which was based off the bearish cross from yesterday. Remember, when the red line gets below the green line and leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance, and it was. Right here, we almost touched the zone, but we come back to the BBC, pullback held, we hit the target, pullback held, we hit the zone, pullback held, we overshot the zone, and we didn't quite take out that high from yesterday on this move. But we pulled back to the BBC again, and once again, the pullback held, and now we got a runaway train to the upside. Probably by the time Michael is done with his 30 minutes, my charts will be back to normal, and so we'll do a quick run through again. He should be here in 2 minutes. And when it's not responding, I can't even click on the NQ, which would typically be the next one we look at. We always look at the four indices first, then crude, then gold, and silver. So, oh, I got a shot to click it. All right, it's clicked. Now let's see if we can get it. come on. Michael, if you're out there, come on in. Maybe when the market catches another breath, we'll get the NQ chart. Oh, there we go. We got the NQ now. Okay. So here's where we opened last night. Now you look at yesterday. Resistance at the zone, support at the zone. Last night when we opened and we dropped, we didn't make it to the short target. The zone served as good support. And off we go, right up to that bearish cross from yesterday. See what I mean? When the red line gets below the green line and leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. And it was, and the pullback held, and the pullback held, and then that bearish cross resistance again held at the target. The pullback held. Then right here, we got above the zone, and then we got a retracement that didn't come all the way back to the VVC. That's a sign of strength. But I did not expect this. Now we still have two more zones overhead. I'm not going to attempt to scroll up there because I know the... Is that you, Michael?
That is me.
All right, I'm glad you're here because my charts, we've had this massive move to the upside. I don't know if you've been looking at the charts or not.
I have not, but
okay, yeah, the ES, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ, you just had a huge move. And well, look at the current 30-minute candle on the NQ. Well, not the current one, but the one.
Oh yeah, the one before.
One right there, yeah.
Yes, that's a big candle.
I mean, that's the kind of candle you see at the Wall Street Open. And the only news I have is breaking. Dow rallies 800 points as Wall Street recovers some of March's losses. That's the reason. It is the last trading day of the month.
It is.
That is.
And quarter.
And quarter, yeah. So that factors in quite a bit. The last day of the month and the first day of the month can often show some rather unusual activity.
It's exaggerated.
Yeah, so my charts have been freezing up, but now I'm ready for you to take it over if you're ready.
Okay, I am ready.
And guys, when I come back, we'll pick up where we left off.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, looks good.
All right. Let's see. Bring this out. Here it is.
Today's Tuesday, 31st day of March.
Yes, there we go. Thank you for starting me off. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 31st day of March, 2026. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for this trial. Once you click on that, it will bring you to this page. It'll bring you to this page, this one. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. And then down at the bottom, make sure you give us a TradingView login ID. Okay, once we get that, we can enable the indicators and get the indicators indicating on your desktop. That's where you want to be. You want to have them on your desktop so that you can participate in the trial with everything running on your desktop. Now, today, I suspect we might make more in this 16-minute session that we're going to have trading than we did this morning, because the markets are really, really moving right now, and I didn't make much today. We had our lowest day of the month today, but we did do some trading today. We did a little more talking and trading for the most part. I guess we had more trades than yesterday, but still, I stopped out on 3 out of the 4 last trades, I think. I kind of put us down a little bit. Anyway, the way it ended up, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down the bottom. I don't know if I said that, but I got to say it every time I show this. We're up 32 ticks on the NQ, -3 on the Russell, +73 on the YM, and -24 on the ES. Put us at $210 a contract. Today it took 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,250, just like yesterday. 2 trades, $1,250. Today it took 4 minutes. Yesterday it was 3. We took 29 trades today. Yesterday we took 28. We stopped out 6 times today. Yesterday we stopped out 4. So 79% of our trades today were break even or better. So we're going to end the month of March with $22,052 per contract. We're 17 business days, averaging $1,297 per contract per 2-hour business day. And on the year now, we're at $66,305 a contract over 54 business days, averaging $1,227 per contract per 2-hour business day. Now, the 24/20 blueprint went up a little bit more today. We're averaging $2,509 per hour. If you were to quit trading every single day when you get the goal for the day and did everything exactly like I did, you would have only had to work 6.81 hours so far this year. And if you added one contract per month, you'd be up $17,107. Wow. Just mix those numbers all up. $17,107.50 gross. Okay. Okay. Let's get into it. I think it's, yes, this one. All right. So on the Russell today, let's look at our trades on the Russell. We ended just barely negative on the Russell. Our high of the day on the Russell was 11 ticks, so it was right at the beginning. And there's probably going to be a lot of bars here that happened during the break compared to everything else in the morning. I guess it wasn't that much after all. Here we are. Our first trade on the Russell was right here. We picked up 11 ticks on that. It was all downhill from there. We stopped out there. That put us at -14. Then we got 6 back there, put us at -8. Then we got 5 more to put us at -3. And that was it. We never came back after that. And this is the big move that happened at 12:30 today. 12:30. Interesting. But that is how it went. All right, and that was it for the Russell. Let me get my DOMs ready to go here in case a trade triggers while I'm talking. There's not one right now anywhere. Next, we'll do the YM. The YM this morning, we did pretty well with the YM. We didn't have any stop outs on the YM. We had 4 trades and every trade was profitable. So control them back on the YM. Okay, and our first trade on the YM was right here. We picked up 15 ticks on that. Then we picked up 35 ticks, it looks like. I guess up to 48, 33 ticks or something. I guess up to 48. Then went from 48 up to 68, and then 68 to 73. And that was all that we did on the YM this morning. Okay. Again, that big move was in the same time span right here. And it's retracing that right now, but yeah, we did 50% retracement to that big leg up. So if it's going to do another big leg up, it should be from here to here up. Okay, oops, that's not the right thing. It would be from here to here up. If it's going to do another leg, that's what it should do. It should put us all the way up here. 46,916. I don't know if there's a zone up there. That's where it should go. Okay. And right now, we do not have a trade on the YM yet. It needed to hit the mid-band to give us the trade. Okay, which it hasn't done. The ES. Now we ended with, yeah, the ES was our big down market today. What was it yesterday? It was pretty good yesterday, but today, not so much. Let's look at it now, like this. Let me do this. Control and back. There is one other thing that I want to do here. Take up the question box in case any of you guys have any questions. None of you do yet. Not me anyway. All right, so here we go. On the ES, we started out with a stop out, -10. And then we picked up 3 ticks. That put us at -7. Then we stopped out again. I don't know how I managed to stop out on that, but we stopped out again. -17. Then we picked up 4 ticks there. That wasn't even a valid trade, but we picked up 4 ticks there, got us to -13. Break even, +1, got us to -12. Break even, Then we went to -8, so we picked up 4 there. Then I picked up 4 more to get us to -4. And then we ended the ES. Oops. What the heck, man? Okay, I didn't add that one in, whatever that is. But we stopped out there. That put us to -14. And we stopped out there. And that put us at -24. But let's go and see what this trade was right here. Oh, I don't feel like doing it. That put us at -24 altogether on the morning session. So we did not have a good morning with the ES. This wasn't even a valid trade, and I should have probably gone to break even on it. So I think I screwed up a couple of trades there on the ES, and I ended with -24. And that was my big loser for the day. The ES was. Let me just go to the end this way. It's faster. There it is. All right, so we don't have a trade right here now on the ES. Next, we'll do the NQ. Ended up with +32 on the NQ, but we did have a couple of stop outs there as well. All right. On the NQ, our first trade here on the NQ, we picked up 11 ticks. Then we went to 25. Then from 25, we went to 75. So we had a big trade there. Then from 75, we went to somewhere in there. We went from 75 to 87, then to 93. And then we stopped out. And we went from 93 down to 57. Then I was explaining something in here. They went from 57, right here, we got that one, brought us up to 60. They went to 68 somewhere else, and then we stopped out again and brought us down to 32. And that is where we ended after that stop out there on the NQ. I stopped out my last 2 trades of the morning session were a stop out on the ES and a stop out on the NQ at the same time. So it was a rough close to the morning. But we were a little bit better than what it said. There was one ES trade that I didn't mark right that was in there. Now the ES just had a long trade from right here just now. In the meantime, the YM had a short trade right there. The Russell doesn't have anything right here. So what I want to do is, before I get into the next part of it here, I want to say, if you haven't taken a free trial with us, that's where I was going with this. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button. And when you do, you'll be brought to this registration page. On this page, all we ask is your name, your email, your phone number. Just fill out the sheet. Send it back to us, and we'll get you going. All right. Let's get in there and trade. So right now, we have 17 minutes. Do we have 17 full minutes. So let's go here and we'll add another row on this. Okay, today weekday number is 72. Carry that down. Why it does that? It's like every now and then it throws that thing up. It must update itself and tell me I need an update. Okay, so now I just need some data to put in there. Oops, not there. Here. All right. So far, we don't have any trades. But it looks like we could get something here on the NQ, something on the ES possibly. Nothing on the Russell, it's got to flip the YBR. The Russell and the YM both need to flip that YBR now. They've gone too far. right, so we went right through everything here on the ES when we pulled back to test the mid-band. The NQ came out of the oversold, so it's going to adjust the mid-band. The YM right now and the Russell are the only two that might give us a trade. Now the S has gone full cycle, so it could pull back and give us something. The NQ has gone full cycle, so it could also pull back and give us something.
You talking to me?
No, I'm waiting.
Oh.
Just waiting.
I just accomplished my front porch over a year ago. I don't want to say 5 years, but I went to take out the bulb and it broke off. So my wife's like, you got to shut off all the electricity in the house. I go, no, you don't. You just turn the switch off. It's right inside the front door. She goes, well, I'll be ready to take you to the hospital. So anyway, we now have a front porch light.
All right. Well, that's progress.
It's the little things in life.
It is. It is. All right. The S just had a trade. I only got one tick out of it, but it was right there for one tick. So our first trade of the session. And you go put it in. Oops, not that. Here. Today is 3/31. Yes, on this side. 1. This is a 1, 0. There, now we have some data. Oops, keep on. I have those switched around. Usually I have this one on this end and that one on this end. All right, so the Russell and the YM could give us something here now. The NQ did, but it was too late. It had already gone to the point where I would move my stop to break even, so I missed that. Now it hasn't gone full cycle, so doesn't have a follow-up. Neither does the ES right now. And neither one of those hit the mid-band. So we're still waiting.
If you're tuned in anywhere, whether it's on the go-to platform or YouTube, if you have a question, type it in, because I can monitor both screens now. So if you are curious about what Michael's doing, just type it in and he'll break it down for you.
Bill.
There's nothing random about any of this.
Be happy to break it down. It's the same thing again and again and again and again and again and again every day. Right? The ES and the NQ are ready to set up a trade.
Oh yeah,
NQ
looks good to the upside. If we get up close.
Get that up close, be ready to go. Same thing with the ES. I think.
Boom on the ES, not on the NQ.
Okay, the ES didn't go enough to fill me. I had my order in the wrong place, and the NQ didn't do anything.
Yeah. Heartbroken.
Okay, so I can cancel the ES. I cancel the NQ. That didn't go up. Right. And all the other ones went right through as well. I don't know what the heck happened. When you look at this huge move up, but I did it on the YM. I don't know if you saw when I did it on the YM, where it should go if it's going to continue going up.
No, I didn't. I was changing the bulb.
That's right. You were changing the bulb. There it is. This is where it should go. It's going to continue to go up. That's where it should go.
Oh, I thought that was a candle for a minute. Okay, never mind.
No. That's where I drew that in. That's
okay. And you based that off the last
move.
Okay.
Yep. So is there anything up at 46,900 right in that area?
On the Dow?
Yeah.
I got a zone at 46,895.
Perfect. That is perfect. Well, that's what price action says it should do. If it's going to continue up, that's where it's going to go. But there's no guarantee it's going to continue up. could have petered out in that one mad rush.
The legacy media is saying that Trump is like, going to walk away from this whole Iran thing. Not, the Strait of Hormuz doesn't have to be open. And I went and read what he actually wrote on Truth Social. And the lefties are just out there, they're just lying left and right about what he said. He did not say that.
That's what they do.
And apparently the institutional traders don't care whether it's truth or not. If it creates a rally, they'll buy into it.
Yeah.
If it creates a sell-off, they'll buy into that.
Well, that's how they make money. That's how we all make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Trade was in front of you.
Just took 8 more on that. All right. So we're at $112.50. I said my goal is to make more in this session than I did in the morning session. So we got that one right there and that earlier one. And this is not one over here. It's not one there.
I think you've had more ES trades today than normal.
I have.
Does that seem like that to you?
It does.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's true. I can see them all right here in front of me.
Okay.
I had as many ESs. I had more ES than I had NQ this morning.
Wow. That is really unusual.
It is. And yesterday I had about the same number. Actually, no, yesterday I had more yesterday too. I had 11 ES trades yesterday and 9 NQ trades, and today I had 12 ES trades and 9 NQ trades.
In the morning session.
In the morning session, yep. And in this one, I've had 2 ES trades and no NQ trades so far.
Michael R. says you in the chat, you can't be a liberal and not be a hypocrite. Apparently, I mean, it's just mind-boggling.
Yes, it is. I have factions of my family watch the YM for the up close.
I got some of those factions too.
Yes, that are.
I got a sister-in-law that marched in a No Kings parade a year ago.
They just had a big one of those here yesterday.
I know. And I spent the whole part of the first part of the broadcast where I normally do the news. Mm-hmm. Someone had written a very nice rebuttal to this whole, how insane this whole No Kings thing is. Because it talks about all the stuff that Trump has had to deal with, that if he were the king, he could have just done what he wanted. But it's in the Breeze channel for anybody that they didn't hear it yesterday or you haven't read it. It is really worth reading. Just scroll up in Breeze till you see the No Kings response.
All right, there's a short here on the ES. I'm in.
Okay.
I'll lock in. There's another trade on the ES, 2 more ticks on the ES.
Wow.
And there's a long over here on the NQ as well. I think I already got in out of that.
Now, for those who might say, well, gee, you only got 2 ticks, and after commissions, well, that ain't no good. No, 1 tick more than pays the commission on any one of these markets. Correct, Michael?
Yes, that is correct. That is indeed a correct statement. And this...
Michael R., I couldn't bear to watch the Eric Swalwell, the guy that broke wind on national TV. Yeah. My kids, they watched that over and over and over when they were younger.
Okay.
Yes, looks like you're going to get a nice short. Maybe.
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like we have another one coming up. This goes to 11 and this goes to 10. That's what I just showed you, the 10 on that.
Yep. So
we are almost to where we were in the morning session. Yes, and the NQ are pretty close. The YM it's green background, but it's a 50% retracement of this leg down. So the YM's a nice looking short right there.
Now the ES wasn't a trade, guys, because that candle didn't touch.
Right.
The midline, the mid-man.
Yeah, there's that one. Looks like the Russell's going to flip the YBR, and I think the YM is going to flip it too. So this did go full cycle, so we could have a trade here. An up close followed by a down close would work on the ES right now. It's going to have the down close right now. You can't get it. Nope. Sorry, didn't work out. It wasn't flat. flipped it over here on the Russell, and the YM is the only one holding out, being in the red. Times at 127. 3 minutes. I'm so close. I'm so close to beating the morning stuff.
Maybe get it on the Russell right here.
Yeah, maybe. We're at the mid-band. I just need the down close. What's the high of that? 1.5, so that'd be 8.5. Still 1.5.
So down at the bottom, guys, where it says 8.5, that will trigger, Michael, into the trade. That 25.01, that's a stop loss. But that doesn't become a live order until the entry is triggered. So for anybody that's new, doesn't know how that kind of thing works.
It's 0.6 now. Should be that far down. It shouldn't be that far down. It should be 9.6. Crap, I put it in the wrong place. Well, I'm off by 10 ticks on it, but we'll still be okay, I think. I messed that trade up. God, I did the math wrong on that. I can't believe I did the math wrong. It should have been at 9.6. I should have been selling right there at 9.6, not at 8.6. But we're going to win it. We could have a trade over here on the ES and on the NQ to make up for that one. We'll get ready for the one on the ES right now. There's the one on the ES. And there the Russell's going to
NQ's back in profit.
And the ES is open. The Russell just worked out anyway. I took 2 on the ES and 5 on the Russell. I think that's going to do it.
Nice.
Even though I screwed up the Russell.
These small trades, guys, they add up.
They add up.
Especially because we now enjoy these greatly reduced commissions compared to what people used to have to pay.
Yes.
Thank you, Robinhood. I think Robinhood was the first one to come out with 0 commissions on stock trades, but it bled over into the futures industry.
Yes. And they've been bleeding us in the futures industry for so many years anyway.
Yeah. Well, they're still getting us going and coming.
Yes. Yes. And all the little fees.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the exchange fees, all the brokers make money on those exchange fees because TradingView, we get the same data from TradingView for $7 a month.
Right.
And everybody else charges $40 for it.
Yeah.
So they must give them a window of how much it actually costs, which is probably around a little bit less than $7.
Well, remember back when you and I left TradeStation, our data fees were like $300 a month.
Yeah, for like the ES. And that was crazy. It was crazy. There was no getting out of that either. We could get out of the regular charting fees they used to charge us by being certified developers, but we couldn't get out of the we were paying like $300 a month just to use the charts. And then on top of that is to use more than the ES. I don't know. It was just
okay. NQ's prime for a short, down close.
It is. The S just went too far. The YM's not going to do it. The Russell could do it. It's actually time for me to wrap up. We'll do the NQ trade if it happens.
All right.
Looks like it's going
to.
Okay. And I just dropped it. So here we are in the NQ. Get down there. Come on. We were above the morning session, so I really want this NQ to work out. There it is. 10 ticks on the NQ.
All right.
I don't know if it actually gave me 10, but it looks like it gave me 10. And that one there, I did a drop on it. So when Dwayne said it did, and pulled back up immediately, I hit the green area, and it filled me on somewhere up here. I'll tell you in a second. I'll show you.
That's pretty much how I enter every trade. Because I don't do the math in my head so good.
It wasn't actually 10 ticks. It was 7 ticks is what it ended up being. 11.75 to 10 is what it ended up being. Oops. So what did I say? 7 ticks?
Yeah. That's what you originally said.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right, so it's right here, 17. And this becomes, I think that's a 6, not a 4. Either way, this is how I'm going to wrap it up for this session, guys. We are up $272.50
per contract.
17, yes, per contract in 17 minutes of trading. With 10 contracts, I'm up $2,725. We had 6 trades with 0 stop outs today. We are up 17 on the NQ, 5 on the Russell, and 13 on the ES. So that was better than the whole morning session. 6 trades with 0 stop outs. I had 6 stop outs this morning. Anyway, if you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button and it will bring you to this registration page. All you have to do is fill out the form. Make sure you give us a TradingView login ID down at the bottom. Okay? That is it. End of the month, guys. Tomorrow, we start a new month. It'll be 4 contracts. All right. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. If you are ready.
I'm ready. So my charts are unfroze. Looks like they may be. Okay. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,250.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And look at today's high. We're a double top with Friday's high, right there. This is yesterday right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big giant wick at the top.
Double top.
Huh.
Okay. All right, guys. So if my charts are unfrozen, all right, Michael, I'll catch you later. I already went through the ES in granular fashion, but I'll just show it to you again with my charts unfrozen. And we still got 2 more zones overhead. Yep. So if the market wants to keep climbing, that'll be all right. The Dow, we got 2 more zones overhead. I suspect that's going to be the high of the day on all of these markets. But you never know. That last move came out of nowhere. Here's a Russell. Okay, now this is a beautiful thing. Okay, remember, this is Tuesday. This is Monday. This is Friday. Look at this bearish cross on Friday. That's when the red line gets below the green line and leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. So yes, we did spike it just a little bit, but that was an unusually powerful move. And look where we closed that move, back below the weekly zone. Remember, we expect the zone when we're moving up to be resistance until proven otherwise. So we spiked it real good, but we closed back below it. Now this candle closed below the zone, and this candle is fighting to get a close above the zone. And it's got 26 minutes to do it because these are 30-minute candles. The NQ, okay, here's that bearish cross from Friday. Look at it to the tick on the NQ. Look at the red line. Today's high is right where the bearish cross happened on Friday. That's market structure. People always ask me, so how far left do I have to look? As far as you need to, okay? And in this case, that's Friday, okay? All right. So we covered the NQ. I guess we're at crude now. Now, again, the CTA targets didn't get out until 7:30 because I was Eastern, because I was tied up at the bank. Normally they come out at 5:55 p.m. Eastern, 5 minutes before the markets open at 6 p.m. Eastern. So this was the open last night. We ran up to the zone resistance, and that resistance sent us all the way down to the short target, which was based off of the bullish cross from yesterday. Now we did spike it, but that's okay. I mean, this one candle is more than enough to get you go for the day. And when the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. The pullback held. The pullback held. We hit the short target again. And then crude got a bounce up to right here. That's not a spot I would have, based on market structure, I would have not been looking for resistance there. So please understand, this is not some miracle 100% of trades will be profitable, you'll never get stopped out again garbage. This is the real world, okay? Now, over the last 7.69 years, over 21,800 individual alerts. Logic 247 alerts, we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less being stopped out. And we're perfectly fine with that. There is no 100% out there. It not only doesn't exist, it cannot exist. It would defy the laws of physics, science, common sense, even God. It's not possible. So if you're in that hunt, stop. Okay? Everything you need to be profitable, you've seen in this afternoon broadcast. You just got to show up, and do the work, and learn a few simple things, and stop chasing the black cat in the dark that doesn't exist. So as crude came down, it found support at the short target, bounced us up to the BBC, sent us back down to the short target. Okay, and as I said, this is where the market did something I didn't expect. Okay, that happens, and you got to develop that attitude. Sometimes the market's going to do something other than what you anticipate. Once you learn how to read the chart properly, okay, and understand price action and how price flows. Now, the low on crude today, we failed to take out yesterday's low right here. So that's actually bullish for crude. Not that we want crude to go higher, but if you're trading, it could make a difference. Okay. And always remember that trading and investing are two entirely different animals. All right. Now, the fact that we had a high, a lower high, and a lower high, that's bearish. That's calling for lower crude prices, and we got lower crude prices. Basically, right now, we're just consolidating along the short target. Gold. Here's where we opened last night, and here's where we hit the short target. We overshot it, it looks like, by maybe a point. But what's it based on? The bullish cross from yesterday. That is such a powerful tool. Now, look right here at this wick. You see that? You see that wick right there? Is that not that bearish cross right there? Remember, it's the first time up or the first time down. The second time, it may blow through. But you should always expect, and does it happen every time? No. Nothing happens every time. Okay? And you're screaming at me, yes it does. I get stopped out every time I put on a trade. No, you don't. I know it feels like that, but and if that is really truly the case, then get some help. Okay? There's no shame in asking for help. Is it going to cost you money to get some help? Yes. But anyway. So we shoot through that zone. Now, if we went way over here, we could find out why there was resistance there. But where did it send us back to? The top side of the long target, which bounced us up into the zone and blue and climbing. When blue and climbing gets directly above price, it's usually on its way to becoming red and falling. Blue and climbing is bullish, red and falling is bearish. So, pull back held, pull back held, pull back held, and then we got a leg and a retracement, the pull back held, a leg and a retracement, pull back held at blue and climbing, and now we're wrestling with the zone at 4683/84, and we only got one more gold zone overhead, but it's a ways. So, but today's only Tuesday, so. Last but not least, silver. I don't like the look of that. 3 failed attempts to go higher. Don't like that. Okay, here's where silver opened last night. We never made it to the short target. We found support at the zone. Remember, when price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance When it drops to a zone, we expect support. That support sent us looking for resistance, which we found basically at the zone, 73.80/81. Resistance then sent the market looking for support, which it found at the zone 71.70/71. So as you can see, support, support. And then we get a pull back to the BBC support, then resistance at the zone, support at the BBC, consolidation at the zone. Now we're in price discovery mode, but man, I sure hope this candle closes above that previous candle's high. Because if it does, that means we could go higher to, there's one more zone overhead, but it's up at 80.58, okay? But if we end up with 3 30-minute candles with wicks sticking up in the air, that tells me we're going to potentially sell off into the close. So there's still, what, 17 minutes left in the life of this candle? Yeah. So hopefully it can close above the previous candle high, and then that will negate the bearishness that these two wicks are adding to the picture right now. And it could be that worst case is this candle does close with a wick on top, and we pull back to the BBC, and the pullback holds, and we catch another leg to the upside. That would be perfectly fine. Remember, price always travels in legs. I don't care what time frame you're on. Leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, leg retracement, leg. Well, it just makes sense. We're going to get a retracement, right? All right. Now, I covered all the markets in granular detail at the beginning of the broadcast, but it was awkward because my charts had frozen up because of this massive run-up that we had. Let's go back and look at the ES for a minute. This candle right here, and this just came out of the blue. That's why you always got to use, a physical stop, because you never know when something's going to come out of the blue. It opened at 64.89 and ran up to 65.63. 90s. That's about a 70-point candle. Oh my goodness. And look at the high. Now go all the way back over to Friday. You see that? Okay. So to be expecting resistance in this area. Now, we did blow through that bearish cross, but we closed back well below it. So I could still argue that that was good resistance. It was just, this was that's like a 9:30 opening candle on an active day. Usually the 9:30 Wall Street open, which is probably going to be this guy. Yeah, this guy. 9:30 this morning. Typically the 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern candle, that's the Wall Street open, usually creates the biggest candle of the session. But today, not necessarily true, because from 10:30 to 11, we did a complete reversal of the open. Okay, this was the open, and this was 10 to 10:30, and then this was 10:30 to 11. We erased the opening gains. But remember, last night we were way down here. This is where we opened last night, hit the short target, and then ran to the long target. So, on the daily chart, how close? Well, we got a double top against Friday. It's not to the tick, but really close. Okay. So your next major resistance overhead is, of course, today's high. And then after that, on the smaller time frames, you got the weekly trading zones and all that stuff. But big picture daily, it's the 38% retracement. And then the daily BBC. And remember, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. And we're really coming off the highs there. Now, this 24% fib retracement, because we're pulling down, that could act as good support. Keep that in mind. To become a member, and you know you do, email Valerie, support@cfrn.net, or you can call her at 949-42-EMINI. She will email you all the information you need about becoming a member, what it means, what you get, etc. She'll even include a link. You can click it and get signed up. You can do everything in 5 minutes if you want. Okay? But she'll also email back and forth with you or call back and forth with you to make sure any of your questions are answered. Once you become a member, you're going to get 2 hours of live training every trading day in our live training room. And that's important because 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. See, trading is counterintuitive to everything else you've ever done in your life. This is why it's important to have somebody teach you. I mean, you can stumble around and grope around and, spend years and, tens upon tens of thousands of dollars, and you may figure out something that works, or you can do the smart thing and just, if it's not us, pay somebody who has documented results that you can see. Okay, they've been doing this. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. There's over 2,900 daily episodes of this broadcast archived for that very purpose. You can go back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, and a lot further. And you can literally see how we've evolved over the years, day by day by day. So you're going to get 2 hours of live training every trading day. Private one-on-one mentoring at no extra cost. All you got to do is ask. You will learn the strategy you've seen on display here today. You'll have unfettered access to the indicators. You get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the concierge trade alerts, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones. And you're able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. And everybody said, well, how low? Well, we're not in a race to the bottom. It's not our goal to be the cheapest people out there, because you're going to get what you pay for. So it's a whopping $5,000, all in. That's it. No hidden fees, no additional costs. That's it. $5,000, you become a passport holder. And you're going to get everything I just mentioned. Now, if you can learn to get your goal for the day with one contract, $100, you're going to trade that one contract until you've earned enough money to add a second contract. Then you're going to trade those 2 contracts till you earn enough money to add a third contract. And by the time you get to 10 contracts, 2 points a day in the ES is $1,000 a day. $5,000 a week. Now, I'm not promising you that that's going to happen, because I don't know what you're going to do with the information, the training, and the tools that we provide. If you get serious and buckle down and show up every day and do the work, then I think you got a really good shot. But if you think by just simply becoming a member that, okay, now I'm on easy street. No. You've opened the door to Easy Street, but you still got a lot of work ahead of you. So I know all these other places tell you that, oh, you don't even have to think about it. The bot's going to do the trading for you, blah, blah, blah. Okay, how's that working? If that's working for you, keep doing what you're doing. Okay? This is for the people who actually want to learn how to trade. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up with our good word for the day. And again, if you missed any part of today's broadcast, 10 minutes after I sign off, go to youtube.com/CFRN and watch the whole broadcast in its entirety, or fast forward to the part that you are interested in. Okay, good word for the day. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Job 32:8. It is the spirit in a person, the breath of the Almighty, that gives them understanding. Elihu suddenly spoke up in Job chapter 32. It's apparent he had been present all along, but he held his peace because he believed Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar were older and wiser than he was. So in Job 32:6, he says, I am young in years, and you are old. That is why I was fearful, not daring to tell you what I know. After hearing the long and meaningless discourses of Job's three older friends, Elihu suddenly felt emboldened to speak. So in Job 32:8, he says, it is the spirit in a person, the breath of the Almighty, that gives them understanding. It is not only the old who are wise. Therefore I say, listen to me. I too will tell you what I know. Have you ever met somebody that was wise beyond their years? So then he spoke nonstop for the next 6 chapters. Now for 32 chapters, he didn't say a word. Now he talks for 6 chapters. He no longer saw himself as a loser in the game of comparison. Feelings of inferiority are generated by comparing yourself with others. Or you go to the other extreme and finish up with a sense of superiority. That's why you should never play the comparison game. Here's a question for you. Can you recall a time when you felt so inadequate that you kept quiet and refused to speak up, even though you had a worthwhile thought or idea? I'm going to guess that's true for all of us. You must realize that it is not your ability that determines your success, but the breath of the Almighty that gives you understanding. The secret of success is drawing daily on God's enabling power. When you become persuaded of this truth, you will be able to take on new levels of risk and responsibility without fear of failure. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, There is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.